So good morning, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be tackling the sills on the car. I've got a couple of holes in the sills, and further to a request from some of the viewers, I'm going to try and be a little bit more descriptive in the filming of the process that we actually go through to try and get the sills into a presentable fashion. Okay, so you're going to have to forgive me a little bit on this. I'm without a tripod at the moment. One has been ordered. It'll be here later on this afternoon. But I'm going to go through the reasons why, what's actually expected at MOT, and what we can actually do to effect a proper repair on the car. So here we go. So, one offending hole, MOT failure. It's quite close to the end of a structural part of the car, and therefore in my original knowledge this was an MOT failure. Rust in itself is not, and contrary to belief, your MOT tester can't go around smashing the underside of your car to try and find these holes. Basically it needs to be a finger and thumb. They have a very small hammer which they'll knock, and if it gives, it's an MOT failure. So technically this not, but it doesn't look very good, and we're only working literally right next door to it. Where are we? There's the hole. So this hole here. So this bit here, I'm going to do this at the same time. I'm going to make all this good, and obviously get a few more years out of it. So looking along the sill, there is a hole here. This hole is a factory pressed hole. There you can see that in there. There it is. That's to allow water out of the sill. So we don't need to weld that up. That's already there. And the rest of the sill along this side, right the way up to the jacking point. And here we go. Let's have a look at that. Just up there. I mean, that's horrible looking, but it's solid, so I haven't got to worry about that for its MOT. So here we are, we're all tooled up now and we're ready to go. Basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting a plate in to cover this, and maybe after I've cleaned it, deal with this. So all this will be cleaned up, all this will be cleaned up all the way to the end. And then a plate's going to be made to cover this, and at least tie all of this lot together. Tie all this lot all up together, which is all just tacked and it's a bit of a mess. We're going to tidy all this lot up, finish the end of the wheel arch off, tie it up to the end of the sill, repair the whole of the sill, tidy up the rusty end here. So that's today's little job. All right. What I'll do is I'll show you what I've done once we've actually ground it all up. Here we are again underneath the car. I've literally attacked the fending item with a 4.5-inch grinder. From the end of the sill right the way down to the factory pressed drain hole here. And what I have found is we have one hole, which we knew about, and the area which was a little bit lumpy just here, which I thought would have been okay, is in actual fact very, very rusty. So we're going to put a nice patch in. It's going to be about 12 inches long from the drain hole to the end of the sill. We're going to tie that up with the inner wheel arch edge and bring it down to the wheel arch assembly, which has been tacked here over here. Although it is a bit of a mess, we'll tidy that up too. That will then make the end of the sill very strong and give us support along here near the jacking point area. But as I said before, a vehicle of this age, unless I was replacing all of those panels, I wouldn't be using the jacking points, and in fact I'm not. I'm using the axle assembly to support the car. So there we go. Now I'm going to go into the workshop and we're going to actually make that panel. I've done it before on a previous video, but I'll just recap with you again how we make that that strip, 12 inches long, with one fold in it. Here we go. Okay, so I'm prepping to make my panel. I've got a piece of steel which was left over from the last one that we did, And what I've marked out is the length of the panel that I need. This is the width of the original Sill repair. I'm going to take it up to the end, and then I want to try and tie in the wheel arch edges into that panel. So we're going to come out, and I'm going to put a little fold on here to take it up to the dog leg. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. So rather than do straight lines, which you know, a bit of a nightmare really, I'm going to put a curve in this bit here. These are straight. I'll just round off the edges a little bit. I'm going to fold along this line. This is going to go down. The panel's going to come up, and then this bit is going to come upwards when we start to form it. So there's going to be a couple of folds in this, but and what I also need to do is just basically get this a little bit straighter along here, because it's a bit wedge shaped at the moment, so I'll deal with that as well. Another essential tool is an Alexa, because you can do this. Alexa, announce a cup of coffee, please.
Announcing.
A cup of coffee, please. Amazing. So we've trimmed out the panel now, so use the diamond cutting disc to go down the straight line, and then the snips to go around the radius. Just tidy up down the bottom here, just run around that with a sander to make sure it's a little bit more flatter. So we've got to put a bend into this line here, and then offer it back up to the sill and find out what we're going to be doing with this bit here, which will be going into the end of the sill assembly and into the wheel arch edge. Here we go. So if you remember the last time when we made the fold, we needed something to actually form the fold round, where we're trying to keep the panel as straight as we possibly can. So I've clamped it between a piece of wood and the desk, and what I'm going to do is use the hammer to gently tease the panel up all the way along. All right. Now it's not big whacks, it's not heavy-handed. This is gently teasing the panel along, and when we've finished, what we should find is that we've got a uniform fold all the way along, and the panel that we've the longer panel is quite square. All right, so let's have a look at that. So now what we have is a panel with its flanged edge to run down the bottom of the sill assembly, the piece that's actually going to cover the holes that we've got, and a piece at the end here which is going to be formed up to make the sill end and to the end of the dog leg. The panel offered up, we've got overlap on good metal. The overlap here will go to good metal as well, all the way along. Sill's overlapping at the end of the dog leg, but when we push this panel up, we'll have a tidy end on here which we can marry up, and then all I've got to do is shape the inside of here. So from inside I will draw where it needs to be, and then I can machine that off so that's quite straight and presentable with no jagged edges. And I think, you know, if we along here, if we do one or two spot welds, not many, but if we drill it, just because it is structural, I want to give it a little bit of help. So a few spots, and then I'm going to tack it all the way along here, all the way along every couple of centimetres, or a centimetre or so. There'll be a tack on here, pulling it to this good metal. These will be drilled and spotted as they were on the other side, and I'll do a spot or two along here and then tack along the top, and then I can seal that with a little bit of glass just to make sure it's done. But then we've got plenty of metal here, lots quite thick. So this is the end of the sill assembly, which I understand is structural. The end of the sill on the inside, I'll try and get a picture of that when we're doing it, will all be then mated all up and made strong. So I hope that helps. Next video I'll have it all drilled up and perhaps even tacked in place so you can see what we're achieving. So what you can see now is that panel's actually been cut and it's all been drilled. So we've now got a place where we can weld the panel. We're clamped in place on the lower sill edge, and to pull this up, what I'm going to use is some self-tapping screws just to put it through into the sill panel. Just make it all good, make it all square, and then commit it to weld. So I'll stop the video, or start a video, or show a video to you halfway through the welding up process. Okay, so here we go. We have the panel on and all of our drilled wells are now done. They're welded in and all the way along, and we've stitched the edge of the panel to the car itself. I've got to do down the inside in here, but I thought I'd just stop and show you what we've got, and then the next step would obviously be to tidy all of these welds up and machine them back so we've got a metal finish. And then I'll show you what we've got from there. So, if you've ever tried welding upside down, you'll find out what a fantastic pastime it is. So anyway, panels all on. We have a continuous weld all the way along here to give it a little bit of rigidity. Some deep spot welds along the top here, and then we weld it as well along here. We've got plug welds along here, and I was always told try and leave a little bit of evidence that the work has been done. Whoever's doing the MOT inspection can see that there's welds at a good distance, rather than having to assume everything. So I'm quite happy with that. I'll perhaps just fill in one or two of the little holes here, go over it with a big welder again and just plug those up a little bit more. But overall I'm very happy with that. I will put some primer over it tonight and let that dry off, and then I will perhaps run a little bit of sealer over it just to tidy it up a little bit, and then under seal it so it's nice and tidy. Make good the dog leg. It's all covered over by the wheel arch edge, so with no big fuss about the finish on that, but I will try and make it a little bit tidier and make it so it'll accept the wheel arch when it comes back down. And for that, that's basically that part's done, and I'm quite chuffed with that. Very pleased. Okay. Well, the great news is that the tripod arrived today and we're using it now. I have been trying to use it during the day. I don't know if you've noticed there's some slightly different camera angles in there, but I hope this gives a better view of what's actually being done, and obviously it frees me up to be able to do the job while it's actually being filmed. So please bear with me as that progresses. But as I said before, if there's anything that you guys want to know, want to see, why don't you drop me a comment and I'll see what I can do for you. And outside of that, please subscribe, click the icon, the little bell icon, and you'll get notifications every time there's a new one coming up. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. So speak soon. Bye.